on July the 4th. Now the police are on the hunt for her killer. She disappeared under mysterious circumstances. The TBI is investigating. A single vehicle car crash on Stanford Gap Road has claimed the life of the driver. The family's not been notified yet, so the identity's not been released. High water levels and strong currents swept away some 40 kayakers in Cummins Falls State Park. All 40 were rescued except for one, a 73-year-old woman who was swept away. She's not yet been found, and the water is too dangerous to continue the rescue operation. The pilot of the plane that crashed in Murray County, claiming the lives of 4, was overdue for a medical exam, according to the FAA. 4 people died in that crash, including a husband and wife and her 2 young grandchildren. Deputies said the plane looked like it disintegrated in the air. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News, now.
In-depth traffic, news, and information. Mornings on Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
A few lingering showers and thunder showers possible through your nighttime, diminishing after midnight, muggy. Some late fog, low 70 to 73. For Friday, could see a morning shower, otherwise a little dry for the afternoon with some sunshine, highs upper 80s, with highs back into the upper 80s for the weekend. Now at CC's, bring the party home with 3 medium one-topping pizzas to go for just $4 each at participating locations for a limited time. Purchase minimum of 3 pizzas now at CC's. And I'm Swarsheen 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr on Nooga Radio AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM knows your opinion is important. So call 800-8949. Agree or disagree? Call 423-800-8949. 800-8949. Nooga Radio, AM 1240, 92.7 FM, and 95.3 HD4. News, talk, sports. Nooga Radio.
No, welcome back to the Comfy Lounge.
Welcome back to the conch shell.
I tried to say lounge and comfy as the same word, apparently.
The conch.
I'm trying to become more efficient, is what it is.
Do you know your own name?
This week, I hear.
I'm Russell Stroud. Hello. Last time you tried to say my name, and that was kind of odd.
Because we were trying to fuse into one person.
Yeah.
Is what it was. And then we realized the pointlessness of it.
We do that a lot, actually. Hold on. Let me keep talking. I got to turn this thing down.
Because if we fused into one person, what would happen was I think we know slightly less about technology, which would be a subtraction of me. We would fear spiders more and also be slightly more interested in jazz.
And have a only slightly above average knowledge of guns.
Yeah, there you go. But the social anxiety would still exist.
Yes.
That wouldn't go anywhere.
No, that stays the same.
And just general awkwardness around people.
Yeah. Hey, what are you assuming here? But yeah, you're right.
Oh, I'm not assuming. I've seen it in action.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
And then I've also done it in action. So there you go.
I'm terrible with people. It's true.
So are we just going to jump into our lead?
Oh, absolutely. It's the story of the century. If you're 2 jackasses like we are, it's great.
Because I was literally shaking
when
I saw it on TV.
I was so angry when I saw the whole thing. I was like, are you serious? Not because of like any moral lacking, any moral shamefulness that I felt for these people. It's more just like, I can't believe this is the thing. It just made me so angry. So what are we talking about, Keon?
We're talking about CNN and Donald Trump as apparently is this what we're going to be doing every week for the rest of our lives.
Talking about Donald Trump
and CNN for the rest of our lives.
And Twitter.
So there's a Reddit user, and he made a GIF, and it was essentially just a GIF of Donald Trump back when he was participating in pro wrestling.
Right. This is like 2008-ish.
Yeah, it was WWE at the time.
Yes, and it was WrestleMania, actually. So there was still Stone Cold Steve Austin was there. There were a few other people. Fun story. Stone Cold Steve Austin threw a Bud Light towards Donald Trump, who then caught it. And there's a photo of him holding a Bud Light, and it's pretty funny. And he doesn't drink either, so it's like double funny.
Yeah. So the Trump is the GIF is of Trump grabbing Vince McMahon, tackling him, and just punching him in the face.
That's the original GIF. Yeah.
That's the original GIF. And then the GIF that the Reddit user then created was he just put the CNN logo over Vince McMahon's face, which is funny.
It's pretty funny. Yeah.
It is objectively funny.
Yeah.
And CNN decided that because they're real journalists.
Now they are.
Now they're real journalists.
They get to put on the hat. Wait a minute.
Hold on a second. Let's jump into the phone booth for a second and actually
we're offended now.
And so they did what all great journalists do. They tracked down the creator of the GIF and forced him to apologize for creating it. Otherwise, they would reveal his real identity.
Well, Andrew how do you pronounce his last name?
Kaczynski, I'm going with.
Yeah, so like the Unabomber?
Okay. Yeah.
Interesting. Anyway, so Andrew Kaczynski is sort of backpedaling and saying, no, we didn't make him apologize. He wrote the apology before we even contacted him and all this sort of thing. And CNN saying that we were going to, that we've decided not to dox him, not to disclose his identity, is just there to get that out there and all these other things. So, just to put things on both sides of the story, CNN is saying we didn't do anything wrong. He apologized. And I haven't heard another statement from the guy who made the GIF. So also one thing we should add is that Donald Trump tweeted that GIF, and that's where sort of the fervor began.
Right. Yeah.
People got upset at that he tweeted that.
Trump tweeted it. And look, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to unpack here.
It's like a matryoshka, the nesting Russian dolls.
Correct. We could start virtually anywhere. So I think I'm going to start with how insane is it that we have this news organization that essentially is, I don't want to say declared war on the president, because honestly I feel like Trump declared war first against the media.
Possibly.
But regardless, they go after the president all the time, which honestly I don't even have a problem with. I think that's healthy. I prefer my media to be the antagonist of the president than his friend.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That's a good thing.
So I'm completely okay with them going after Donald Trump. But the idea that you go after him and on a regular basis refer to him as being thin-skinned and petty, and then the instant that a GIF shows up that does not advocate violence against the press, and I don't care what it is that they say about it.
It's a funny thing. It's more metaphor than anything. It's like, look, I own CNN. It's not like I'm literally going to beat up people at CNN.
Yeah, no, it's Donald Trump tweets about CNN often. He often feels as though he is right about the stuff that he is tweeting, and that's him beating CNN, like on Twitter.
Yeah, it's crazy. And remember the journalists they had? I don't know if you saw this, but they played it on Hannity the other day. They had a Republican talking head essentially saying that this advocates violence against the media. This is now a dangerous environment for journalists. It's like, no, it's not, because this sort of rhetoric has been going on for freaking ages. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and sure, maybe we've reached a more intense part of rhetoric, this presidency. But even then, to say that advocates violence of the press is to absolutely sell the American people short in the worst kind of way, as though somebody was sitting at home and going, you know what? I never thought about committing an act of violence against the media. And then Donald Trump sent out that GIF.
Now I'm going to. This GIF made me do it.
Absolutely changed my mind. Where's my gun?
Suddenly they all turn into Travis Bickle, and they're going to gun down CNN journalists when they see them.
Just
shave mohawks into their hair.
Yeah, right? Like nobody...
I was a normal man until I saw the GIF.
I love that movie, by the way.
I used to hunt terrorists. Now I am one.
They were Uber drivers. Uber driver. It's the new taxi driver.
It's what radicalizes American white males is GIFs on the internet.
That's insane. That's absolutely insane.
We don't have like imams or the KKK anymore. Now we've got GIFs online.
GIFs online.
Green Frogs made me do it.
You gotta be careful what GIFs you watch. Otherwise,
you better let us in. Better let us in your internet. Otherwise, we might radicalize.
Oh man.
So yeah, the backpedaling has been crazy, and people have been using archive services to take screenshots of Kaczynski's tweets, which he will then, go back and delete.
Right.
Because he tweets stuff that seems to be kind of hypocritical. And I'll be honest, we've all tweeted things that are pretty hypocritical, especially looking 5 years in the past. But
I don't even have to go back that far. I can go back 6 months and find something that I've completely 180'd on.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't necessarily fault him for that. We're all human. We've all said stupid things. And certainly I'm sure he has, and I have too. Mm-hmm. But no, that one was pretty damning. Vice, the website Vice, mm-hmm. They've disabled archiving services. You can't archive their articles anymore, so now they can go back and change them, and you can't see what the history was. You know,
Interesting.
So, yeah, kind of sketchy.
That is very sketchy. I don't, because I think that the part of this whole process is transparency. You absolutely have to show people how it is that you got to a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you make a statement or you write an article, then the correction can be written and just say, hey, like, changed at this time for this reason, which is what people usually do. And I guess throw back to print journalism. That's what you had to do.
You had to print redactions, or retractions. Sorry, the CIA prints redactions.
Yeah,
the press prints retractions,
and that happens. And I'm not necessarily a fan of that at all. But the backpedaling is a result in large part of this. We've just got to report things now.
Right? Yeah,
media.
It's a 24-hour news cycle. I mean, we fall victim to it too. Not necessarily as severely as that, but if there's like a new development in a case, you find out the minute it comes out. You know, so you got to jump on breaking news. It's all there. And CNN's kind of, any really 24-hour cable news service is the same way, where there's a change and they have to run in and change the article. It's common stuff, but it's also a little bit dangerous if we're talking about political commentary, because they can shift things around and it looks like they were saying something the past the whole time when actually they weren't. So it's hard to call people out on statements. I mean, it's like any other tool. It's a dangerous thing. And
I think that, like, ultimately we'll find a way around it.
Well, we have archive.is is how people have been doing it, which is why Vice disabled it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Is like, you can archive a page and you're like, this is how it was, timestamp June 6th, 2017. So then somewhere down the line in August, if they change the article, they go back and change it while keeping the date the same. You know, there's no way to know that they've done that unless there's an archive of it. So that's why services like those exist, really, is to keep media accountable and in check. And I think that should be done. That's a process that should happen on the side of the populace. I'm all for, you know, people keeping everything in check at all times.
Yeah, the media is often referred to as the fourth estate. That if you're going to be the fourth estate, well, then who checks you? I mean, this idea that somehow, no, those branches of government need checking, but we are above it all is kind of insane.
The high and mightiness of all the journalistic factions on both sides really just gets me sometimes. Like, where they're like, no, we're the media, obviously we should be a second tier citizen. You know, it just drives me freaking nuts, because, like, listen, you know, I get you went to college and you got the degree, you got the journalism degree, you wrote copy for the sports page for 3 years, writing about what high schooler won what game, you worked your way up the rank. I mean, I understand, I get it, I've done that, but not nearly that long a time. But but listen, you're not special, you know. Like, and this is from one broadcast media person to another. You're not special. People are going to screw with you, and it's going to happen. Don't take yourself so seriously. Take your work seriously, but don't take yourself so seriously.
Right. And especially a lot of our media, a lot of our news media is ironically not news, but in fact just opinions and just talking heads sitting around a table saying stuff very loudly. And I just did a sports show. That's my show. Like, I am a person who yells sports opinions very loudly. So I am not saying that there's no place in the world for that. There certainly is, but then you have to have a certain level of thick skin to deal with what happens, which is that when you say something, your words are not gospel. People will disagree with your opinions. The president is going to disagree with your opinions. Just because you've never experienced a world in which the president decided, you know what, I'm going to tweet back, doesn't mean that he doesn't have the right to. I mean, this is alarming to me.
Yeah, and it's not even like an argument about, like, oh, is it inappropriate that Trump tweeted that? That's not the point. The point is the response. You know, like how you respond to antagonism or how you respond to provocation says a lot about your character. You know what I mean? Like, if you're walking down the street and some guy says, hey, man, you're fat, you can turn around and punch him in the nose, or you can take it and keep going. And CNN, for some reason, decided to turn around and punch him in the nose, and there's no...
Right.
It's like, now, hold on, you're supposed to be the bigger guy here.
Which is odd, because, again, that's the thing that they call out Trump for the most, is that, like, he tweets about everything. And
social media bully.
And then here you are.
You're bullying a guy.
And just a random guy. and that gets me to another thing that I'm very uncomfortable with about this entire story, which is I'm a big fan of privacy, especially privacy online.
I'm glad you're getting into that, yeah.
Your ability to remain anonymous. And we are very afraid of the government doing this. And it had not occurred to us previously, I don't think, that the media would also join in this. We're going to find out your identity. We're going to find out who you are. We're going to expose you. And I know CNN said that, they didn't do that, but even just his online identity, they went through all of his posts. They found, he made anti-Semitic jokes here. He made this kind of humor here. And it's like, okay, that already has crossed the line, because someone's online identity is still not them as a person.
Right.
And you've basically said, though, those two things are the same thing.
Well, I think half the implication there was that that's somehow damning of Trump. Look, he sourced this GIF from this person who had anti-Semitic tweets.
As though he checked.
Yeah, right. Like, come on. He saw that, probably wasn't even him. Like some staffers like, hey, check this out. It's funny. He goes, haha, yeah, it is. Come on.
He didn't provide a source in the GIF of, hey, this user from Reddit.
Big fan of him. Big thumbs up to right. Han A-hole Solo, my favorite guy. Come on, guys. And they're hoping, I think a lot of this is they're hoping that people don't catch on to how absolutely ridiculous that is. Like even people who are not for Trump, I'm not a pro-Trump kind of guy. I like some of the things he does, and I really don't like a lot of the things he does. I'm not like someone who's going to jump on his bandwagon all the time, because I disagree with a lot of what he says. That getting out of the way, they're kind of hoping, it seems, that people are just going to ride the wave of hey, everybody hates Trump, don't they? Here's this thing.
Right.
You can only do that for so long, though.
Which is crazy, right? Because we're not even 200 days into this presidency. You realize that there's more left. But anyway, yeah, I hear you. And
we're not even 1 year into 4. I mean, it's just crazy.
Because I'm not a big Trump supporter either. And in fact, I think people have fairly said that I'm sometimes too critical. I don't have a problem with that. But I always try to keep it to politics. I always try to say, look, the things that he doesn't do that I don't like, here are the political reasons why, and keep it to that, and not try and see if I can find some kind of damning evidence to prove that Donald Trump is unfit to be president of the United States. Because, I mean, I don't know, the last 10 presidents you could argue have been unfit to be president of the United States, especially if we're going to go with, this person's got a massive ego. That's all of them.
Yeah, that's literally like every politician on the planet.
It takes a certain level of ego to have an off chance of running for president and becoming president, and then still saying to yourself, yeah, I can do that.
It's actually one reason I'm almost glad. I'm gonna reveal my power level here. One reason I'm almost glad Ron Paul didn't get elected back in 2008 is because I think he would have been destroyed in 3 seconds. Not because he's weak, but because I think people have underestimated just how nasty the rest of the world can be when you're unpopular. I mean, it's pretty nuts. It's not even necessarily political arguments that you see. You make political arguments, and I appreciate that. Your arguments are not about look, his tiny hands, blah blah blah. Who cares about that? It doesn't say anything at all about the politics.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny.
It's funny, sure, yeah, but it's not a political argument.
Right.
There's a big difference.
And I think that, and it's easy to wrap the two together. And it sucks because there are people that I think are very smart people. I think Stephen Colbert is a guy that's very smart, but he's had this anti-Trump thing from that's the Late Show now. His opening monologue is always, you hear what Trump did? And it's just I mean, I remember when you were funnier.
Remember the guy, I just saw this today, actually, the guy from South Park, either Trey Stone or Matt Parker, I think it's Matt Parker, he said he's not going to do Trump jokes anymore because it's gotten stale. I mean, that's saying something, though, before even the first 200 days, before the first year is over, the jokes have gone stale.
Before the inauguration, and Dave Chappelle, a little prophetic here, Dave Chappelle said he thinks that Trump is bad for comedy.
Yeah.
That people were going to, at some point, rely too heavily on Trump jokes, and it was going to be, people weren't going to write jokes about things that mattered anymore. It was just going to be, how can we mock Donald Trump today? And sure, you can argue that Donald Trump has brought a lot of it on himself, but that doesn't mean that has to be your go-to move. It is. It's because it's not even just stale. It's beyond that now.
It's just lame.
It's easy, but it's not even an easy laugh. It's just an easy thing to write.
I think Trump jokes now are light up Skechers in the Macarena. It's just we've done it. It's over.
I mean, and it was fast too.
It was very fast.
We beat it to death really quickly.
Yeah.
There were shows that I expected, like The Daily Show. Their arena is politics.
Yeah.
So they're going to be beating up Trump every day. That and they're liberally slanted. Like it was going to happen.
It's like George W. Bush all over again. Like, fine, we get it.
Yeah, but like every late night show, and I you know, like Jimmy Fallon's show's a little milk toast, but I do give some credit to Jimmy Fallon. Like, he doesn't go for it.
He just tries to be likable. He just tries really hard to be really likable.
Which is why, like, that's the other problem with the show. But like, I will take that over Colbert, who's a guy that I always thought was funny. And like now I can't watch that show anymore.
Remember the 2 scoops of ice cream thing that was such a big deal for such a long time?
I actually don't.
They beat that to death for so long. It was this whole thing, and I don't remember where it came from, but like Trump had 2 scoops of ice cream and his staffers had 1. And I don't know if that's because he chose to have 2. You know, like we don't know the context or scenario. It's funny. Yeah, like, I get 2 because I'm president. It's funny, but there's not really a whole lot you can say about that.
There's not a lot of depth of humor there.
And you definitely don't need 2 days, to give a rundown of the 2 scoops theory. Like, it's not the freaking JFK assassination. Come on.
It was the 2 scoops. It was Kafifi.
Oh, Kafifi.
Where it was just like, Kafifi was funny to me for the first 6 hours that it happened. And then I forgot it happened, got back on the internet later, and it was still happening.
How long did we spend on Kafifi when in our podcast? Was it like less than a minute?
It couldn't have been greater than 3.
Definitely not greater than 3. We spent very little time on Kafifi.
It's like, okay, that happened.
Yeah. But yeah, back to the doxing thing, that is like hugely dangerous when now you have media organizations that are treating just people making jokes on the internet, no matter how tasteless, as like almost as bad as Al-Qaeda. Like we have to unmask them and we have to unveil them because that's our holy duty in this crusade against people who say things that offend us.
Even though legally we treat regular people differently. Like slander and libel laws work differently for celebrities because you're in the public eye than they do for the average person. And there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
You cannot treat the average person, whether or not you agree or disagree with what they're saying, like a celebrity.
Yeah, he's a dude on the internet who has a username, so he remains anonymous. You know what I mean? Like there's a layer of like, I don't want to be found in there already.
And it's his right as an American to not be found if he doesn't want to be.
Like, remember, 4th of July and everything, you can say whatever the heck you want as long as you're not like directly threatening anybody, and it's cool because it's America.
I completely agree. You're listening to 2 Millennials Talk. I'm Keon Rose.
I'm Russell Stroud.
We'll be back in a second.
See ya.
You're hurting me, baby.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM's news now.
Body found in Etowah has now been confirmed to belong to Kelsey Burnett, a teenager who went missing on July the 1st. Her body was found on July the 4th. Now the police are on the hunt for her killer. She disappeared under mysterious circumstances. The TBI is investigating. A single vehicle car crash on Stanford Gap Road has claimed the life of the driver. The family's not been notified yet, so the identity's not been released. High water levels and strong currents swept away some 40 kayakers in Cummins Falls State Park. All 40 were rescued except for one, a 73-year-old woman who was swept away. She's not yet been found, and the water is too dangerous to continue the rescue operation. The pilot of the plane that crashed in Murray County, claiming the lives of 4, was overdue for a medical exam, according to the FAA. 4 people died in that crash, including a husband and wife and her 2 young grandchildren. Deputies said the plane looked like it disintegrated in the air. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News, now.
In-depth traffic, news, and information. Mornings on Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
A few lingering showers and thunder showers possible through your nighttime, diminishing after midnight, muggy, some late fog, low 70 to 73. For Friday, could see a morning shower, otherwise a little dry for the afternoon with some sunshine, highs upper 80s, with highs back into the upper 80s for the weekend. Now at CC's, bring the party home with 3 medium one-topping pizzas to go for just $4 each at participating locations for a limited time. Purchase minimum of 3 pizzas now at CC's. And I'm Machine 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr on Nooga Radio AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Need windows? Hey folks, do you need new windows? Good news. Window Depot of Chattanooga has a great special going on right now. 10 high-quality, energy-efficient double-hung vinyl windows installed for only $29.90. That's right, 10 double-hung vinyl windows, only $2,990. And yes, they qualify for the TVA rebates. Call 894-0011. Window Depot of Chattanooga today, located at 5950 Shaliford Road. Call 894-0011 today.
The American dream. Home ownership. Are you building equity for your landlord? Why not build that equity for yourself and your family? Rent No More is a no obligation, no cost program. It's designed to teach you the steps necessary and to coach you all along the path to home ownership. Integrity Mortgage Group is owned and operated by local expert Jeff Woody Woodburn. Jeff has been in the mortgage business for over 15 years. Born and raised right here in the Chattanooga area. Jeff is also known as the Lone Ranger. He's helped countless hundreds. Really eager to help you too. So don't wait. Come on, call Danielle right now. You need to reserve your spot for this exciting, informative event. Space is limited, so call now to reserve yours. It's free. 423-517-8004. 423-517-8004. Call 423-517-8004. Hey, Nooga Radio is proud to partner with Integrity Mortgage Group to bring you Rent No More. Reserve your spot for this exciting, informative event. Space is limited, so call now to reserve yours. It's free. 423-517-8004. 423-517-8004. Call 423-517-8004. Stop building equity for your landlord. Live the American dream. Home ownership with Rent No More. We'll see you there.
I have the best steak selection in town. Name of the business is Don's Meat Shop, and I'm Donnie Raines. Just ask for Donnie. I make over 20 different types of sausages. Most of them are great for grilling. We have the best selection, best quality. We have the hard-to-find items. Don's Meat Shop.
He stole out so much cash, such a huge mountain of cash, that he's become a national star. Rick Davis, you know the story. Cash, 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 and more cash. People can't believe it. They want to see it. And now Rick Davis has a new TV show. National TV, USA and Canada. He's got the gold and silver, diamonds and rings. You get dizzy just thinking about it. Rick's selling, Rick's buying. Cash, 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 and more cash. And now a mountain of cash catching the Hollywood spotlight. You know where it is. Brainerd Road. Rick Davis, Gold and Diamonds. Cash, 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 and national TV cash. That's really big. Everyone wants to see it. Money flying out the door. Rick Davis is America's jeweler. It's better than Hollywood. It's right here. Cash, 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 and more cash. Rick Davis, Gold and Diamonds. Brainerd Road.
You love me. You really love me.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Oh shoot! You hit the microphone on.
You did have the microphone on.
Why'd you do that?
Because I wanted the people to hear your voice.
You want to embarrass me? Is what you want to do?
What? Why would you ever think something like that?
Turning beet red, man.
Blushing.
I'm blushing, yo.
I can't do that. So.
Oh boy. Well, I can't. No, never mind.
Are we going to keep tearing apart CNN?
I do have other things on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we could do CNN for like.
No, let's get to the other things if we have more time.
Yeah. I mean, we have a whole nother 19 minutes to break down life itself.
Because I'm generally in my life, I think, have been a watcher of CNN, and I have sort of faded over the years.
Yeah.
Because they just keep upsetting me. And then, I think I sat down and watched the entirety of Don Lemon's show, and I do not get the point.
What? No, I didn't. I thought it was a black thing. Honestly, I watched his show. I was like, Oh, it's like the Cosby Show. Like, I'm not gonna get it.
But it isn't.
Uh-huh.
I think what ends up happening too is that Don Lemon being a black anchor for CNN sort of gets relegated for covering all the stories that are about black people, which is racist if they're doing that on purpose. But like, I remember when Michael Jackson died and Don Lemon was the only person covering that story all day.
Well, why is that? I don't understand.
Well, once upon a time.
In 1995. No, before that, actually.
Well before.
Well before 1985. Man named Michael Jackson. Yes, the same Michael Jackson.
The same Michael Jackson. Different than what you remember.
The same and yet the different Michael Jackson. But still,
his soul was the same.
Still the good Michael Jackson. Well, he had soul, so.
He had enough soul for all of us.
Yeah. Did he do Cosby coverage? I'd like to see Don Lemon Cosby coverage. That'd be pretty funny.
You know, I haven't been watching, so I don't know, but probably.
Yeah. Did you see that? You saw the Norm Macdonald bit about Bill Cosby?
I don't know if I did.
It was in Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee with Seinfeld, and he was talking about how the comedian friends of his were talking about like the worst part about the Bill Cosby thing was the betrayal and the hypocrisy. And Norm Macdonald says, "Well, I thought it was the rape."
Which is true. That is definitely the worst part.
Yeah, that's the worst part of the Bill Cosby thing by a long shot.
Before we get too grand and esoteric with our themes here.
Yeah, which really just breaks it down as like people try to make things about them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like Bill Cosby's not about me. It's not about you. It's about the alleged victims.
Here's the thing that I think too is that Bill Cosby and the Cosby Show was so hugely important in America.
Yeah.
That people are uncomfortable with the idea of Bill Cosby being a horrible, horrible rapist. Like they're just terrified of that idea. and like I have about 4 or 5 seasons of the Cosby Show on DVD that I still watch.
I've probably seen about that much on BET. So
there's a lot of it and it's all good.
Yeah, like any one episode you can sit down and enjoy.
Except for that one episode where Cliff Huxtable drugs the barbecue sauce and everybody starts falling in love.
So the WebM of that one, that was pretty funny.
Like that episode is hard to watch now in retrospect, but like
I think it's much funnier now, actually.
It's a little bit more poignant.
Yeah, it's more on point, actually. Like that was one Bill Cosby wrote himself. He's like, they'll never catch on.
Come on, you gotta put this one in here.
Now they'll never
put it in the season.
They'll never catch me. You'll see.
Oh man. And then there's actually some old Bill Cosby stand-up where he makes some jokes about it too. So
yeah. So it's everyone did back then. It was like the 70s.
Right. So
whatever
like
you wanted.
But when you have the now history of women, it doesn't, and it just, when you look back on it, you're just like, oh man,
you got the last 5 years.
That makes me feel awful for laughing at that previously.
Yeah. There's a Seinfeld bit. Speaking of Seinfeld, people got boycotted. There's a Seinfeld bit where he talks about people who are suicidal, and he says he thinks they should just kill themselves, like just do it. And I was watching him like, that's kind of mean even for the 80s. Like that's pretty harsh, dude.
It's because that's the thing, and this is the reason why I don't believe in censoring comedy. Is if you want someone to be genuinely funny, you have to take the harsh with the palatable.
Right.
Like you absolutely have to take them both. Like the stuff that makes you feel horrible and uncomfortable, you have to take them both. You can't ask someone to be like, no, you can't say that joke. Because then
if you want that, then watch Jeff Foxworthy or something.
Right. Or just Larry the Cable Guy, who is essentially making humor on what was originally a parody and then people didn't get it.
Yeah, now people really think Larry the Cable Guy is like a thing. You know, like people really think like, wow, yeah, this Southern conservative man.
That's not at all what he was before that character.
He's making fun of y'all.
And and he's just continuing.
It's like King of the Hill. You know, people are like, yeah, King of the Hill is a good conservative show. I mean, it is, but it's also not.
But yeah, not by design.
Right,
necessarily.
It's kind of the joke.
By making fun of conservatives, it wound up being conservative. But actually reminds me of a podcast that Malcolm Gladwell put out where he talks about satire and how satire is great for political conversation. The problem is that very often people just identify with the part that's them and wind up missing the point entirely.
Right, like kids in Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah. So you'd watch like the Colbert Report back in the day was making fun of conservative talking heads. But the problem was liberals would watch it and see a joke. Conservatives would watch it and just see their point.
Right, but yes.
Like, no, that's what we've been saying.
Yes.
And so like everybody enjoyed the Colbert Report, but everybody was not supposed to enjoy the Colbert Report.
And that's why I think Sam Hyde is like the ultimate satirist, because I can't tell.
Right.
You know, I'm not sure if he's doing satire, if he's really like as crazy as he appears to be.
And the fact that he is not really ever publicly broken character doesn't help your assessment of like Sam Hyde has some jokes where you're like, that is racist. But is he really being racist? Like, right. You can't tell. Like, there really is no.
Is he making fun of people being racist, or is he being racist?
And it's almost impossible to tell. And like, if you are a person that wants to be offended by him, you will very easily be offended by him.
Oh, seriously? Like we were watching it and your girlfriend was in the room and I realized like, oh no.
Right.
This isn't going to end well.
She was offended by it.
I was like, why is she so quiet? Oh no.
I was like, that's right. Oops.
Oof. Yeah.
Power levels concealed again.
Yeah. I think I apologized before, but I'm sorry again for that.
It's fine. It's just, how could you know though?
Yeah, it's true. Unless you knew, you don't know.
Because I've seen enough of Sam Hyde. I think that this is a parody, but I don't know.
Like at this point, I almost don't care anymore because I probably laugh either way.
Well, yeah, because I think because here's the thing, like even if he was actually being racist, as in some of the jokes, you might assume that he
right, especially the Officer Maggot one.
Yeah.
But again, that's obviously satire. That one's pretty obviously satire.
I think with him, it's like where the line is that some people do behave that wildly.
Mm-hmm.
So like while you could be making fun of, like Black Lives Matter people, like if you've seen the way some people in the Black Lives Matter movement behave, like it's not that far off.
Yeah.
From what that is. And you're just like, well, why are they like that? And it does get you thinking. But that's about as close to like satire that we'll understand. Like the people who are going to be offended by it are actually offended.
Yeah.
As opposed to just everybody likes it.
It gets the cogs turning. Fires those neurons. We do have a viewer question, by the way.
Oh, good.
From someone I don't know at all in real life. I've never met this person ever. He says, do you think Twitter is keeping the CNN trend off the chart artificially? Because you notice that CNN blackmail was like #1 on trending on Twitter. And I wish you wouldn't drink on the air. That's really offensive. Anyway,
I don't care.
No, I do it all the time. But yeah, I kind of do think so. I don't say artificially because what does artificially mean? What does artificially mean? Because if it's artificial, then I would assume it's like a super PAC or a group is injecting influence into it. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think it's getting exposure. Like a wider populace is seeing the CNN blackmail thing and be like, this is not cool. I wouldn't say that it's artificial.
I would say that is organic.
It seems organic. Now, I know for a fact that there is some artificial involvement, just, having seen it. There are people who are like organizing, like, look how outraged we are things, which happens no matter what. But I don't think the initial outrage is artificial. No, I think that Twitter has played a pretty valuable part. If you support that cause, Twitter's playing a pretty valuable part in getting the word out about like CNN not being pretty crappy.
Yeah, and part of that too is we referenced earlier the idea that the media is the fourth estate.
Mm-hmm.
Julian Assange referred to the internet as the fifth estate.
Yeah, he's absolutely right.
And I agree. So that we do have that check and power on the media, and that is more personally and more directly all of us, and how it is that we do react to CNN and Fox News and MSNBC when they say things that are simply not true or behave in a way that is completely out of line for a media organization to behave it. And we're seeing the full gambit. And I think that there is some level of Trump's presidency that's bringing this out of just absolutely everybody.
Yeah.
So like you get to see what CNN really is, and you get to see what everyone's true colors are here in this entire thing.
I think it's bringing back like Woodrow Wilson era yellow journalism, where just people don't care anymore about pretending to be fair and balanced. Like we're not even going to pretend anymore. We just, this is a left leaning newspaper.
Well, I think that they are pretending. I think CNN is certainly pretending.
I think Fox is pretending too, and there's nothing wrong necessarily with leaning a certain way journalistically. You can do that.
We all have biases. Even if you try to eliminate all of your biases, you could not.
Yeah.
Like, there are things that if there is a tragedy or a natural disaster and a liberal and a conservative reporter show up to report on the story, different things are going to pop out to the liberal that pop out to the conservative. Maybe the conservative looks at it and sees that, we're relying on government agencies to help people out and it's taking too long or what have you. And then the liberal might see that maybe this tragedy would not have ever happened were something to, I don't know, so were things designed differently and with the poor in mind. And they look at it and see the same story and write two completely different things. You can't eliminate all your bias, even if you wanted to. But I think CNN doesn't do a particularly great job of saying we have a bias. I know when I turn on MSNBC exactly what I'm getting when I watch Rachel Maddow. Like I know,
because CNN is default cable. It's just the default cable news station that everyone turns to.
Right. I don't know why we decided that they were in the middle.
Because they were the first.
I suppose, yeah. Because there's people there that you like at least that I like anyway. I like Anderson Cooper well enough.
I mean, I like him as a person. I'm not too hot on his style, but I like him as a person, sure.
Yeah. And like for me, one of the things that I did like was that the Obama administration did not like him at all.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
Like he tried to report things on them that they did not like, and they did not grant him interviews.
Yeah.
At a certain point in that presidency, just would not talk to him.
Yeah.
Jake Tapper is a guy that I kind of like. I think he's not as in the middle as he thinks he is. But
Tapper used to be with ABC back in the day too, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, he was.
It's kind of odd to see him over there.
Everyone moves around.
Well, Kirsten Powers was on Fox for the longest time.
Mm-hmm. Well, now Megyn Kelly's over at
NBC,
NBC Nightly News.
And here we are.
Not moving anywhere.
You think we'll ever be panelists on Fox or something? I think that'd be pretty funny.
If they asked me, I would go.
I would so go. They've had local radio show hosts from here. I'm not going to say who because, competition, but they've had local radio show hosts from here on Fox before as panelists, and it kind of shocked me. I was like, what the heck? Why him and not me?
I remember I was watching Fox News one day, and Stephen A. Smith, the ESPN basketball analyst, was a panelist on one of their shows. And I thought he did a really good job, but I was like, he's an NBA guy. What is he doing here talking about Trump tweets? I just don't follow it.
I guess you could say like this presidency is the Wizards era Michael Jordan or something. I don't know.
I suppose.
I don't know.
I wish he had said that. That would have been great.
This is golf era Michael Jordan. This is what that is.
2 years between Chicago Bulls dynasties where Michael Jordan went to go play baseball.
Yeah. No, he could say, this is a good one. Here's a hot take. Here's a good hot take for you. The Trump presidency, going from Obama to Trump is like going from Michael Jordan Bulls to Michael Jordan baseball. Boom.
Bang.
I know some sports, y'all.
There you go.
Only because I watched Space Jam, though.
Which is, quite frankly, all the 90s basketball education that you need.
It's got Larry Bird. No, it doesn't. It's got Charles Barkley.
It's got Charles Barkley. It's got Sean Bradley, who nobody knows because he wasn't a good basketball player. And here's a fun fact for you. The Monstars steal the powers of all these basketball players.
Yes.
The Monstar that stole the powers of Sean Bradley scored 0 points.
Oh, that's kind of
which is exactly what you would expect. Like, why did you steal his powers?
Was not Rowdy Piper. Who's the basketball?
Muggsy Buggs?
No, the dude who went to North Korea.
Did it Dennis Rodman?
Thank you. Was Dennis Rodman in Space Jam?
Dennis Rodman was not in Space Jam.
Of all the cartoonish NBA players,
he would have been, prime number one. And also
they wouldn't need to do anything to him. He'd just be there.
Yeah. And also having Michael Jordan play against a teammate.
Seriously, yeah. Like, why not?
Even though I don't think that Jordan and Pippen were teammates at the time, actually. But yeah.
Well, Scottie Pippen was busy with his own video game empire. Scottie Pippen's Slam City or whatever it was.
The horrible,
good old Sega CD.
Horrible basketball game of all time on Sega CD.
Oh my gosh. Do you have any more stories or?
No, that was it.
Okay, well, I've got one that I want to get out there. First of all, I saw Baby Driver. It was good. That's really.
I saw it as well.
Okay, yeah,
it.
Very good movie. That's really all I have to say about it. It was just a good movie.
I really liked John Hamm and Kevin Spacey.
I love John Hamm. Oh my gosh, I love John. Anyway, so this is something I wanted to get out there for a while, so I'm sort of rushing it. I was talking about it with a friend of mine today, and I realized I have a phobia, and I didn't really think of it before, but I realized. And it may have been exacerbated by the whole 90s anthropomorphic animal thing, but I have like a phobia of like mascots and like furries.
Really?
Yes. I was like, man, why am I always like nervous and afraid around these? I realized I'm afraid of them, and I'm cool with admitting it, because you know what? I should be, because it's like being afraid of heights. Being afraid of heights is something that really everyone just should be.
Right.
It's healthy to be afraid of heights.
It's healthy to be afraid of the dark.
Yes.
Yeah, it's healthy to be afraid of, if you're afraid of like snakes, spiders, like things that can kill you potentially, like the darkness can and heights can.
Definitely. I think furries fall into that category.
I can agree with you on that. It's not natural.
I take it too far though, because I get like nervous around the Chick-fil-A cow. Like I walk into Chick-fil-A and I'm like, get that thing away from me. Like I seriously, I hate them so much.
Well, okay. Because now I am a sports guy, as I mentioned, pretty much every time on the show.
Yeah.
And so mascots are fall under my purview.
Okay.
The New Orleans Pelicans mascot, which you would think would be a pelican, but it is in fact not a pelican, is because I think what's the name of the Smoothie King is the company that owns their arena. And so there's like the Smoothie King baby mascot that just walks around.
Oh my gosh.
Freakish. This is the scariest mascot in sports. I promise.
Well, of course, the best mascot is M. Bison, as we all know.
Well, yes. For what, Nickel State?
Nickel State.
I don't even know the mascot's actual name.
I don't either.
But he looks exactly like M. Bison if you look him up.
It's just M. Bison, yeah.
Yeah, that's it's unbelievable.
Well, can I explain? I think half of the reason why I'm afraid of them.
Sure.
It's not necessarily because I'm visually afraid of them. There's nothing visually about them that's off-putting to me.
Okay.
It's the social aspect, because when you see those things and when they get near you, there is an expectation of interaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, they want to high five you, they're going to hug you. I don't want any of that. You know, like, no. As a kid, even, I was like, no, get that thing away from me. I'd be like 5 and I'd be hiding behind my mom. You know, there'd be like something in a suit. I'd be like, no.
That's fair.
Not going to happen.
Because it's unnatural.
It is.
To interact with something that is obviously inhuman is unnatural. And it's like if you interact with a dog, there is an expectation of how the dog treats you and how you treat the dog.
It shouldn't try to high five me.
Right. If a dog tried to high five you and without his owner asking, and I promise you the dog does not see that interaction as a high five, but just following a command, then weird stuff is happening, right? Like if there's just a bear at your campsite and then the bear tried to hug you or high five you or offer you toilet paper or whatever it is that anthropomorphic bears do in ads and stuff, that would be freaky.
Yes.
It's a weird interaction to have. It's not human and it's not animal and it's obvious.
And I think it's a big display for me personally of how absolutely deplorable my social state is, because I hate any expectation of anything social. It's like, you must be happy around these things and be glad that it's there. Like, no. It's why I hate weddings, actually, come to think.
Look, I'm happy for people in weddings. I just wish that there would be they would be shorter, just much, much shorter.
Yeah.
I would like my own wedding to be much, much shorter, which I know my girlfriend is going to hate.
Fast forward, your wedding's at 1.5 speed.
Right.
No. Just run out the door.
Right. And the reception, we don't have one. Bye.
Shrimp cocktails, bye.
Later.
Have a good one.
Speaking of goodbyes.
That was way too. I think our show was at 1.5 speed.
Right.
Good. Go on.
It always goes by too quickly. But you're listening to Two Millennials Talk. I'm Keon Rose.
I'm very nervous, Russell Stroud.
And we hate mascots around here.
Yeah, I can't stand them. We better not get one.
Look up the Smoothie King Pelicans mascot, though, if you want nightmares.
If you want to die.
Catch you all later.